Before they were dominating the globe, Stray Kids launched a rebellion. It's September 2020 as we look at the days in the lead up to Chance Room episode 71, when the impact of Go Live and God's Menu were still reverberating, turning heads and pulling baby Stays into the fandom. But Stayville was already moving forward, immersing themselves in the hype of Stray Kids' first repackaged album, In Life. Most of us are familiar with the kind of pre-release madness only Stray Kids can deliver, where teasers and unveils drop unrelentingly, everything starts to feel a little unreal, and the pace of it all takes our breath away. That's where 2020 Stays are this week, as In Life barrels towards them. What I love about this, though, is even though the kids always serve up enough pre-release content to make our heads spin, Stays still can't help hunting down hidden details, and not much gets past them once they've decided to start digging. This week it was the KBS song approval list that gave the game away, giving Stays an early preview of 8 new songs headed their way. I love that based purely off of this list of song titles, Stays connected the dots between Stray Kids offering a door hanger as an album pre-order benefit and Backdoor being the new album's title track. But what might be less known about this information leaking is that 2 of these songs were initially banned by KBS. Backdoor because it mentioned a brand name, and X, which was originally submitted with a Korean title that translates to Crazy Bastard. You know how Stays are, so when that song was resubmitted simply as X, they assumed it was going to be a savage diss track. Even based just on this list, Stays were more than ready to go all in with an album that they could only guess was going to embody Stray Kids' rebellion, and the unveils dropping this week definitely started out that way. First of all, the teaser images from In Life are just indescribable. The looks the kids were serving here were beyond jaw-dropping. But on top of that, they led into their unveils with Any, a song that barreled into existence with smoke and neon, its EDM pulse catching like tires peeling out on wet pavement. If the kids are good at anything, though, it's giving us whiplash. Their next unveil reached back to their District 9 Unlocked tour, where We Go, Wow, and My Universe had been wildly treasured unit stages. These were songs Stays had only seen on tour before the world shut down, and even though everyone knew they were coming now with that KBS list giving them away, the moment the unveil dropped still caught people off guard. This unveil featured concert footage for each of the 3 songs, which honestly couldn't help but hit different now. So many Stays didn't know if they would ever see these songs live, and for the ones who had been there, it was a reminder of a very different time, of just how many things had been lost as the world shifted along with the pandemic. Are you sensing how Stays are being led through this week? Nobody moves like Stray Kids. Nobody rebels like them either. And X met them right there. This unveil was so unexpected. With Stays bracing for a foul-mouthed diss track, this video opened with serene, soft light and bird song against a wide blue sky, and it held just enough cinematic space for mystery to slip in. Whatever anyone thought X would sound like, this was not it, and that was exactly what made it rebellious in its own right. X left things quieter than anyone expected, but predictably nobody in Stayville was sitting still for long. Korea on Stage aired this week, which was a streamed performance at a time when Stays were still missing concerts more than anything. It didn't matter that it wasn't live, or that it wasn't in person, or that it inexplicably started raining just as the kids took the stage. It was a moment for Miro and God's Menu to shine, and Stays were right there with the kids, watching them tear up the stage and laughing with each other about how they really can't help but bring the rain. In Life's tracklist dropped literal minutes after the kids finished that set, and the full impact of what was coming really hit at that moment. 17 songs. Even knowing so much of this ahead of time didn't take the edge off. It couldn't. Honestly, the reality of just how much the kids were giving Stays was humbling, and more than anything, it turned into a moment for them to marvel at how lucky they were to be here for this. But I have to be honest with you, there's a lot I leave out when we time travel like this. Not just because we don't have time for everything, or because I want to pretend that some things didn't happen, but there's some harsh and ugly things that really don't belong as part of our history, at least not in ways that mattered. Anyone who's been deep in K-pop fan spaces knows how this works. Toxicity isn't new. It's practically built into the system. And even though people love to pine for better days, I can tell you, fresh out of Stayville's archives, combing through them week after week. None of these days were better when it came to infighting, witch hunting, rage bait, or fan wars. It has always been here. I think people just forget. We tell ourselves it used to be softer here, that Stayville was kinder once, but what's really changed isn't the culture. It's the way we remember it. Because the truth is, the only reason anyone remembers a gentler Stayville is because so many someones showed up despite all of that, with quiet, steady support and love when everything else felt like it was falling apart. That kind of loving doesn't make headlines. It doesn't chase attention. It doesn't feed the algorithm. It doesn't show up in hit tweets or clever takes. It lives in the stays who are still here, the ones who are still steady, still showing up in ways that don't demand to be seen. And that's what lasts. That's what holds Stayville together when the noise dies down and all the petty fights fade from memory. That's our real history, and it can be our future too. Love is the rebellion Stray Kids taught us. To be loud in joy, fierce in love, steady in our care for them and one another. To show up not just when it's easy, but when our kindness is needed most too. This week in 2020, people were waiting on Chan like always, hoping he would go live. Hoping he would distract the timeline from the latest drama of the day. Hoping he would be the one to pull Stayville back together again. And most of the time, he did. But maybe what we need to learn now, maybe what rebellion looks like for us here, is realizing we cannot lay our worst behavior at the feet of someone we love and ask them to save us from ourselves. Even if Stayville can be saved simply by him showing up, offering us a piece of his heart, it shouldn't be the rule. Because walking beside someone means carrying your share of the weight. It means choosing love when it's hard. It means showing up in partnership and full responsibility for what we create here together. At the end of the day, Stayville is built by all of us choosing to stay. Choosing to love each other better, choosing to hold the line together. And while a lot of us do that in a million tiny ways, if you've made it this far, this way is one we share with each other. We're here because we are steadfast. To whatever ends, we are here. I started Sundays with Chan alone, and I'd gladly have carried it alone through the years too, but it says something that even a little project like this, the love being mirrored back and forth between Chan and Stay and Stray Kids, can't help but be amplified by the hearts out here who are ultimately helping write our shared history. So we'll be here this Sunday, April 13th, to rewatch Chan's Room episode 71 with hearts wide open, ready to be part of the rebellious love that defines us all together. I'll see you then.